do you believe that Halloween is spiritually harmful? Like, what do you believe about? Is it culturally harmless? Like, what would you say to that question? I think a lot of parents are asking that question. Yeah. Is it spiritually harmful? Hi, everyone. I'm Rebecca St. James, and thank you for joining us for Practice Makes Parent, where we understand it's not about perfection, but about transformation.
That is right. And I'm Dr. Danny Huerta, and we are talking about Halloween. And this is a special edition just for you guys, as we're wrestling with such a difficult topic. And for some, you may say, it's not difficult at all. I just don't want to participate. I'm rejecting it. Some may say, we use it as an outreach. We are intentional with our church, and we are doing trunk or treats. And then some of you may just interact with your neighbors. You may go out and trick or treat, and you say, no, we have positive looking costumes. We dress up like Bible characters or superheroes, and we use our kids' imagination that day. Guys, this is an opportunity for us to have a conversation, and I know immediately your mind wants to go to, oh, that's bad, or it's not that bad. Let's not get in a conflict here. Let's have a real open conversation and discussion, and we're going to have a great conversation here with Jessie Floria, who's editor-in-chief of Clubhouse magazine, Clubhouse, and Brio magazine, and I know you probably love those magazines, and if you haven't seen them, know that you have a discount code waiting just for you. Look at the link in the show notes, and you will find a nice discount just for you on those magazines. But Jessie, welcome.
Yes,
glad
welcome.
you're here.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. It's a topic that comes up every year in the magazines because there's always an October, and as you know, kids love to dress up.
And they love candy.
Yeah.
Very true. Yeah.
Let's be honest, right?
So let's jump in. I have a question. And how can we reconcile our faith with a day that has roots in pagan traditions and modern-day commercialism?
Yeah.
What do you guys think?
I mean, it is a great question because, honestly, as Christians, we deal with that in our daily life every day, right?
Yeah.
We are aliens in a fallen, sinful world. Yeah. So we have to ask ourselves, how can we be salt and light? How can we be in the world and not of the world, which is honestly my life verse, Romans 12:2, a fantastic verse. So it's something that parents really do need to think about. And if you look at it, even Christmas, right? And I hate to say that, even Christmas has pagan roots, right? The Roman holiday Saturnalia, the festivals that would go on around that time of year. So again, as Christians, I think we can redeem those holidays.
Yes.
You talked a little bit about, even in the intro, like we can use it as outreach. We can do events at churches like trunk or treats. Here at Focus on the Family, I mean, you know that we make available Clubhouse and Clubhouse Junior magazines, as many as the employees want. And then you put those in the trick or treat bag when kids come to your door, just as, or even Bible tracts with your candy. There's a lot of ways that Christians can redeem that holiday, which honestly is pretty scary, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the roots are very evil. We don't want to glorify evil, especially with costumes, demons, witches, all that stuff. But a cute little princess and, answering the door and engaging with your neighbors in a fun way can be a way for Christians
I think
to
it was the Catholics were trying to have a response to the pagan roots.
Yes.
And so they're trying to develop something that could bring them into the church. So they created the All Saints Day and then All Souls Day as a way to kind of interact closely to that day and bring people in towards that the faith side of things, the light side of things. Now, one interesting thing of that the pagan roots is that it was marking summer into the dark time, and it was about that fearfulness of what's going to come in the dark. During those winter months. Their crops would dry up.
Right.
There was a sense of fear. And so since that time, there's been this desire to control fear in some way or another. And we have one day to interact with fear, but to be safe.
Right.
Right? To interact with it, get scared, but then have that safety. And that's called recreational fear.
Have
you heard that
No, I haven't.
I've never heard that before. Dr. Danny is in the house. So, I mean, this is an interesting topic for me because, and Danny, you know this, we've talked about it before, but I didn't grow up with Halloween. Like in Australia, at the time that I was growing up, it didn't exist. Like it just was not a thing, not a part of your childhood. So it's kind of foreign to me. When we first moved to the US in the early 90s, we'd go to the fall festivals and things like that. But culturally, it's very different. And I didn't grow up with a childhood with it. So I'm asking this just out of like me now as a parent, like trying to learn. But do you believe that Halloween is spiritually harmful? Like, what do you believe about? Is it culturally harmless? Like, what would you say to that question? I think a lot of parents are asking that question. Yeah. Is it spiritually harmful?
I have some thoughts, but Jesse, why don't you go first? Go for it.
I mean, I think it can be, right? Yeah, I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I grew up in Boulder, Colorado. My family didn't go to church. It wasn't until I was a teenager that, again, I learned about God and Jesus' sacrifice and the gift of forgiveness and said the prayer. So I grew up doing Halloween, right?
It was a part of your childhood.
It was, yeah. and it was fun, right? I mean, there was worries about checking out the candy and stuff like that, and my parents still wanted me to dress up as positive people. You know, I was Luke Skywalker in the late 70s. You know,
you'd be a good
sure were.
Skywalker.
Yeah, I can see
that.
So, but then when you become a dad, right, raising my own kids through Halloween, and that's when Halloween was really gaining in popularity. I mean, I can't believe now, like, what are the stats? Almost $12 billion spent on Halloween, only second to Christmas.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so much of that is embracing evil, or again, allowing evil into something. You know, you walk.
Some people are obsessed with it.
Oh, you walk through Costco now. There's, the 9-foot tall, scary skeleton guy.
Move and talk. Yeah.
Right. That I think can be spiritually damaging. To your point, Danny, that can frighten kids in a way that can be harmful.
Yes.
So again, as parents, we need to protect our kids with this holiday. And again, if we choose to do it, I mean, going door to door, meeting your neighbors, talking to people, making sure your kids are safe if you're choosing to trick or treat, or protecting your family and just deciding, no, this is a holiday we don't want to embrace.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about how you as a parent need to interact with this is really up to you as parents. You need to figure out what is your value system. This is one of those areas where you can either interact with it in a way that is as an outreach, where you do something very intentional through your church or in your neighborhood, or you may choose to turn the lights off, just not participate at all. Either way, you get to decide that. I think about the opportunities we had as parents raising our kids to think about this each year of their life. It'd come up again, and we go, okay, how are we going to interact with this? What I've noticed throughout the 18 years, now my kids are 20 and 22, it got increasingly evil.
Yes.
Yeah. With the more technology that was out there, the more realistic, the demonic, the horror movies were awful. You could feel it. If you saw a trailer for one of those, I'd be like, man, I don't even want to listen. I don't want to watch. Super evil. They've taken it to a different level.
Right.
And on the other side, where there's darkness, we can bring light in amazing ways. And I think of Colossians 3, verse 12, and I think it fits with this. It says, put on. So we're thinking about when you're putting something on, like you're putting a costume on.
Yeah.
You're putting something on. Put on as God's chosen ones. Compassion, kindness, humility, meekness, and patience. Bearing with one another, and if one is a complaint against another, forgiving each other. This is a great opportunity to think about that with our kids. What is it that we put on each day to take on the character of Christ? I wonder what you want to put on today. And if you're wanting to have a costume, I wonder why you're choosing that particular costume. And that can actually give us so much information about our kids if they're wanting to be a part of it in one way or another. But then you go to this next part. It says, put on love. And this is the important one here, I think, with Halloween. See, Jesus said to his disciples, if you love those who hate you, that's actually love. Take it to that level. And so we think about where we're surrounded by evil, not becoming a part of it, but loving them. And that could be when your neighbors come to the door, you're giving them candy, talking to them, hey, how are you doing? How you doing? How are things going? And you go, man, you guys look at how creative you were. Or you're doing something on your driveway or in your neighborhood or through your church, and you're interacting, bringing light to a time where there could be a lot of darkness and it could be scary, but you're bringing a smile to a moment that can be dark, but you're bringing a different flavor there. Now, do you think, Jesse, that Halloween is spiritually harmful to a family? Do you believe it's actually a harmful thing?
I think it can be. And again, I love that you brought in the Bible, because again, that's where parents need to go to find, guidance for raising their kids. And of course, there are Bible verses that talk about that, right? 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 21 and 22 says, "Test everything, hold fast to what is good, abstain from every form of evil."
Yeah. That's a good one.
So if this is a dark time and your kids are scared, and you need to protect them as parents when they're younger. So I think it can be a time that is harmful, but to your point, it can also be fun. Mm-hmm. Kids love to dress up, right?
They do.
They love to use their imagination, and God put that in our children. Right? I mean, you just look around at God's creativity and how we're created in His image, like a duck-billed platypus, right? Only a creative God could have made the duck-billed platypus, or some of those amazing rock formations you see when you're hiking through the Rockies, right? So God is creative, and He made our kids creative, and we want them to be able to express those things and pretend and all that. And again, we can do that in our own home. And for some families, they can choose to have their kids do some really cute little costumes and, have them go around the neighborhood with their friends. Or, we have one family in our little circle neighborhood, Christian family. They set up a fire pit and a hot chocolate and an apple cider stand. And they want the parents to sit down, and they'll talk to them, engage with them, and talk about church and different things.
And it's an outreach for them.
Right. So again, in those cases, then I don't believe it is spiritually harmful. I think it can be something that can be used for good.
But I hear the parent out there saying, "Can't we just dress up another day? Why does it have to be on Halloween?" Great point. I love it. I mean, you can dress up in July. You can dress up in March. And we're not saying you need to participate in this, and that's to encourage your child's creativity. If you're going to do it, there are positive ways to interact with it, and it's not just about dressing up. I know I've gotten that criticism from parents on this when we talk about this topic, because it's such it's
very polarized.
It's
really.
a polarized
Yeah,
topic.
I think
It
so.
is, and I understandably so. We had a couple of years where we did not participate at all. We turned the lights off. We went down, watched a movie together as a family, had our time together. We helped through some outreaches at our church and met some great people
there is some
around
great
our church.
initiatives, trunk or treats,
Yeah.
and like harvest festivals and stuff. So if people don't want to participate in it, there's other very family-friendly options for them too.
Yeah, and we want to give kids a chance to dress up all times of the year. In fact, in Clubhouse magazine, we did a story this year encouraging kids to write out a play or a skit based on one of their favorite Bible stories, and then have mom and dad and dress everybody up, and
That's
then
really
act
cute.
it out as a family. So they're all dressing up as biblical figures and acting things out. And again, like you said, it's not limited to a single day. Families should engage in creative play together year round.
You guys encourage that in the magazine.
Yeah, we totally
I love
do.
the magazine. If you guys haven't seen the magazine, check it out. One of the things that I think is key for families to consider is a teenager has this desire for risk, has a desire for belonging, and this is a day where a lot of teens participate in this. And there are conversations around it. Hey, let's go to this party. Let's go do this. Let's talk about that conversation between parents and a teen when they do have this desire to have recreational fear, this dancing with fear where I feel safe and I feel like I can control it for a moment. And that's why they like the haunted houses and the horror movies during the teen years, is because they're wanting that. I would encourage parents to put a clear boundary on that spot, but know why they're attracted to it. Jesse, what would you say to a parent talking to their teen about this very thing?
Yeah, you said it well. Like there's the verse, guard your heart, right?
Yes.
For that is the wellspring of life. As a parent, you sometimes need to help your kids make the right decision while they're in your home, right? And lay that foundation. Because again, especially with a teenager, what do you have, 2-3 more years and they're off to college, or the next thing they're leaving the home. So you have to equip them to make that right decision. So having that conversation about what's the risk, is it really worth it? I mean, you talked about some teens love to go around and vandalize things or throw pumpkins or whatever they're doing, right? It's making mischief. And again, just having that conversation with your kids and being honest with them about, okay, maybe your friends are doing this. Here's how you're different. You're representing Christ. You're salt and light, and make sure that you're making good decisions now, so you make good decisions once you leave the home.
Tough conversation sometimes for some parents. You don't have to make your kids happy. This is where you get to put the boundaries. And haunted houses, horror movies have become more and more evil. You get to put that boundary. What are your thoughts on that?
I think where I've heard you guys speak to this is every family is to submit to God. Every family is to submit to the Holy Spirit, is needing to submit to biblical knowledge, and how that is applied in your family is important for you to work out in your marriage with your kids. Like you just, so seeking the Lord first about what he's saying, how he's asking your family to operate within the culture. I think that that's just something that we need to constantly be going back to. I've heard here at Focus on the Family, you guys speak that very often, and that has encouraged me. I love being a part of this ministry, and it's encouraged me to go to God, with my husband for our family, and that we're to submit to him in all these things. You brought up Christmas earlier, commercialism of Christmas. Like, how much are we going to play into that or not? It's about Jesus. Like,
yes, it is.
So I think we've just got to go to him for that wisdom.
Yeah, and as you're talking about that, I was thinking of the rest of Colossians. It says, "And let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, and let the word of Christ dwell in you richly." Let's talk about that with our kids as we're thinking about what we're putting on as Christians. How do we interact with whatever's going on in front of us, whether it's a holiday, whether it's a conversation around different worldviews, and this is one of them. How do we let the peace of Christ rule in our hearts? And then how do we let the word of Christ shine through us as we're having those conversations?
Right.
So how do we model that as parents, talking about this topic with our neighbors, with our friends, with other people at church, when it's such a divided topic? What does that look like to you guys?
I just think you have to be filled with grace. You talked about it. It's so polarizing that you don't want to be judging another family who does enjoy dressing up and having fun as a family with the holiday if you choose not to. Again, just accepting that they're seeking the Lord first, and that they have a peace with doing this with their family. And again, not using as the Christian church. We're way too divided, right?
Yes,
we have a holy, loving, forgiving God that we all serve. That's where we should be looking and looking for those commonalities to, again, serve Christ in the best way we can in our everyday lives.
Yeah. And God says he looks at the heart.
Yes.
We can't see that. We can see evidences. We can know a person to a certain degree, but God is measuring that person's heart. What you want to do is have open conversation, listen to each other as you create these values for your home and learn from one another and go, well, that's interesting that you see it that way.
Yeah, that's good.
How did you come up to
The
that
curiosity.
decision? Yeah,
I
the
love
curiosity
that.
with
I
them.
love that.
Instead of judging them,
Yeah.
approach it with curiosity. And man, that is so life-giving on a topic like this. And I think about actually Romans 1, where it talks about the mind that knows God and the mind that doesn't. The mind that doesn't, if you read that, and actually let me just read it really fast. Romans 1 says this. You got to check this out. It amazes me how it describes this holiday apart from any type of God in it. Right? So this is what it looks like. It says, "And God gave them up to a debased mind." This is not acknowledging God, not bringing him into the mix. It says, God gave them up to a debased mind to do what ought not to be done. They were filled with all manner of unrighteousness, evil, covetousness, malice, full of envy, murder, strife, deceit, maliciousness. They're gossips, slanders, haters of God, insolent, haughty, boastful, inventors of evil, disobedient to parents, foolish, faithless, heartless, ruthless. When you remove God from things, evil starts to come in, and that's shown here in Romans. Paul called that out. When we let evil just go rampant in Halloween, the imagination of people to bring out evil on a day when you can, we can see that.
Yeah.
But when we bring God into it and we say, we know this Jesus, we can bring a redemption to that day and bring God's mind into that. And if a family feels the calling to do so, let's encourage them rather than judge them. We have plenty of critics, all of us do.
Yeah.
And in this case, let's have conversations that are redeeming. Let's get to know each other as we're interacting with these values and these convictions that we have as Christians. And I have a little conversation started for you guys. And parents, you can be using this at your house and in your car. Yeah, in your car, on a walk.
Yeah.
So if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh,
what would it be?
Flying.
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I mean, how cool would that be?
Flying.
You could just fly
Yeah, I
anywhere,
think
help
that's the most
people.
common.
Right?
You know, just that experience. I mean, have you ever had flying dreams?
Yes.
Those are the best.
I love
Wow.
those.
It's hard to wake up
Yeah.
from those.
I know, you're like
Great
bummed you
superpower.
can't.
Man.
Yeah.
That was good. I was going to say that, so I'm going to go somewhere different.
Oh,
I'm going to
sorry,
go
Jesse.
super strength.
Super strength?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, when
That
I'm at
big
the
one.
gym, I'm just not pumping iron like everybody else. So, you know, if I could just throw in like 450, start pumping that out, like that'd be pretty
man.
cool. Yeah.
That's good.
Danny, you look like that. That would be.
Yeah,
No,
right?
the flying is fun, but I don't
Flying
want to
pretty
be.
great.
I want to have a
You
different
don't
one.
want to be a copycat.
I don't want to be a copycat. What
Yeah.
would it be? I think I'd love to do the mind reading.
Ooh.
That'd be kind of where
Maybe that's too
sometimes
much.
I don't do it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
or maybe
right.
sometimes
Whenever
you
I
don't
can-
want to know.
I don't want
actually.
to know. And then there are times when I could just go right in there and really read a person's mind.
Wow.
That'd help
That
in
would be
counseling
fun.
too.
That would
Wow.
help a lot
Yes, it would.
in counseling. Yeah.
Wouldn't
yeah.
even have to ask them questions.
I've had some teens ask me, "Do you read minds?" Yeah, no, that's funny. So, man, this has been a great conversation. Have loved it. Thanks for sharing, guys. And guys, we have in our show notes an Adventures in Odyssey download that you can give to your trick-or-treaters, to your neighbors, even through your church.
And so, until next time, I'm Rebecca St. James.
And I'm Dr. Danny Huerta, and we'll see you again next time on Practice Makes Parent.